Well, welcome. Good morning slash good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. My name is Christina Hampton, and I get to be your trainer and your host for today. Today, we're going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart, and that is goal setting. So, in life in general, there is a difference between what you a wish and an actual goal, right? Um, Especially around New Year's, we have those resolutions, and we all say things like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to read more books, I'm going to grow my business, I'm going to get new leads, right? These are all good things to want. But when you are setting effective goals, you want them to be SMART goals. So we're going to talk today about what that means. And then we're also going to talk about how KV Core can help you in setting and achieving and checking in on the progress of those goals. And so first, let's start with defining what is a SMART goal. What is that going to do? What does that mean? So a SMART goal is a goal that is specific, right? So take my example of, okay, I'm going to grow my business, right? That's great. We all want to grow our business, but you want to be specific about what it is that means. So make sure that you know what you want to accomplish and what the benefits are of accomplishing this specific goal, right? So it's also kind of your why behind this goal, right? So something specific. Now, not just I want to grow my business, right? We all want to grow our business, but you know, how do you want to grow your business? Is that going to be volume? Is it going to be closed transactions? Is it going to be the number of leads? So be the more specific you can be, the better the SMART goal is. So once you've decided on your specific topic or specific goal, then you want to make sure that it's measurable. You want to make sure that you can measure your progress as you go with this goal, right? That's why this is a mid-year check-in. In December, I did a setting your SMART goals session, and so this is your mid-year review. So as you are setting a goal for the year, for the month, if you make it something measurable, then you can check in and assess your progress along the way. So let's say that my goal is to, started with close more deals, right? Really vague, not very specific. So I'm going to change that to, I'm going to close 12 buy sides this year, right? Maybe I'm a new agent, maybe that's a percentage of growth for me, whatever that is. So I'm specifically stating that I want to be on the buy side here. Maybe I'm stating how many listings I want. Maybe I have a great history of being a buyer's agent, but I want to get myself into the seller agent lane, or split them. So be specific and then be measurable. So not just I'm going to close more deals, but I'm going to represent 12 closed buyers this year, right? So I'm making it measurable. I'm going to represent 12 closed buyers. How am I going to measure that progress, right? Well, that's something that's easy for me to measure. I can count my number of transactions. I can also use KV Core by looking at how many closed clients I have. I can use hashtags to track my leads, right? And so how will I know that I've accomplished that goal, right? Same thing. Then I want to make sure that my goal is achievable. This is where I start putting my plan into place of achieving this goal. What steps do I need to take to accomplish this goal, right? This is where you start pounding the pavement. So this is where I can say, okay, I am not closing the amount of deals that I need because I'm just not getting enough leads, right? And so I'm going to break this down even further. So if I want to get 12 closed deals this year, then I need to get, X amount of leads each month. and break that down into how many I need each week and break that down into how many per day, right? So then I have an achievable action plan. And that is something KV Core can definitely help you with as well. And then I want to make sure that it's relevant, right? Is this a worthwhile goal? If I'm going to put in all this time and energy and effort, is it really going to help me, progress my business as I want? And do I have the necessary and relevant resources to accomplish this goal, right? If you're a part-time agent, you're not going to have as much time as someone who's a full-time agent. If you're have a very small sphere of influence where most new agents get their first deals, it might take you longer to achieve that first deal, and that's okay. But make sure that your goals are relevant to you. They're relevant to where you are in the country versus where I am in the country, things like that. Like I'm in Southern California, so my like price point for houses is going to be, a lot higher than in some other areas of the country. So my goals are going to look different. And finally, give yourself a deadline. Make it time-based or time-bound. How long do you want to take to accomplish this goal? Make sure you write this goal down as well and make it the SMART goal that you're writing down, right? How do you get leads? Yep, we will definitely talk about that, Brenda. No worries. So as we're going through the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goal, write that goal down and keep that somewhere where you're going to see it. Just writing your goal down makes you more likely to achieve that goal. And then putting it somewhere where you're viewing it on a regular basis then increases your likelihood of achieving that goal even higher. Right? So now we've talked about, okay, what is a SMART goal? Let's look at KV Core and how this is going to help us. So as we're breaking down our goals, go ahead and put them in the chat. Those of you who have made some SMART goals, what are you looking to accomplish the rest of this year? What were you hoping to accomplish for this whole year of 2023? What's kind of your progress there? Put it in the chat. Let me know. We can dive into what would make your business specifically run smoother and be more successful. That's what we want. More successful business, helping more people, close those deals, that kind of good stuff. So I'll give you a second to kind of answer that. I'm going to grab a drink of water. It's sitting right here though, so don't worry, I won't go far. All right, no one wants to speak up. Well, if you don't set those goals, it's hard to achieve them, right? So something to think about. Most of you probably have something in there rolling around, so feel free to put that in the chat. Right. All right. So we've got our specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goal. So let's talk about a couple tools that we have to help you achieve what it is that you are looking for. So one of my favorite articles is called Daily Best Practices. So the Daily Best Practice article. All right, we got some brave people putting their goals in. Cool. So daily best practices is that article right there. So this article has in it a lead calculator. Okay, so there's a whole slide deck that goes along with it. We've done it at some point in the past, so we won't do the whole thing today, but I do want to show you in here, there is a tool that you can use, and I'll also give you a direct link to it. But with KV Core, we've got the basics, right? We need to have leads in KV Core, a system of follow-up, and a system of incubation in order to have a healthy pipeline. Now you can have that all with KV Core, right? You have a system of follow-up. Those are your various SMART campaigns. You have incubation where you're dropping real estate data on them. Those are your market reports and your search alerts. And you have speed to lead as well. You get notified when behavioral alerts are triggered. You get notified when you have new leads. You get notified when someone asks questions on your website. And you also have SMART campaigns helping you respond quickly to your new leads too. So with KV Core, we've got all of that covered. Now, what a lot of people question is how many people do I need in order to achieve this goal? So you can click right there, and there is a building your calculator, excuse me, building your pipeline calculator. Let me grab you a direct link. There we go. And I'll put that in the chat for everyone who's live as well. Oh, there's my chat. There we go. So there you go. Now, if you want to use this, you do need to follow the orange directions to make your own copy. So you'll click on File in the top left and go down to either make a copy, or if you wanted to download, you could do that too. Now, this is all pre-filled for you, full of, I can't think of the word, formulas, right? So if we're going to start out, fresh, right? We're going to start out with 0. We don't know any of our numbers to start with, and that's okay, right? So don't worry about this scary part. It'll figure itself out. So you might decide what your annual commission goal is, right? That's how most of us are setting our goals. It might be based on number of transactions. A lot of us are setting based on our commission goal. Now, if you don't know your commission goal, you can use statistics to find what you kind of want to start with. So if you're newer and you aren't sure where to start, or you can just pick a number that you want, right? If you are looking to replace your full-time salary, what was that? If you are looking to double what your previous full-time salary was, what was that? Are you doing this to, get 2 extra vacations a year? What does your commission goal look like, right? So let's say I want to earn 125,000 this year, right? Because taxes, so that's what I'm going to put. Now, the average gross commission, this is where it's going to be very relevant to you. Your manager can probably help you find this if you don't know. You could also, there's lots of stats available on the MLS or through your board of realtors, so you can find your average gross commission. In general, it's going to be 3% of the sales price. So you can think about, okay, what's the average sales price in my area? What's the average sales price of what I'm focusing on, the neighborhood that I'm focusing on? And then that will help you figure out your average gross commission. So where I'm at, the average gross commission is about 20,000. Again, Southern California. Could even be more than that. So to get that goal, I need to get close 6 deals this year. Right now, I already told you I wanted to do more than that this year. So maybe I increase my financial goal, or whatever it is. But this calculator, if you're not sure where to start for setting your goals, is a great place to start. So in order to get that many deals, based on some statistics here, one, the average close rate of each lead that you get is 1%. If you have a higher close rate, that's great. If you know how to mess with Excel, you can go in here and kind of change these formulas. So there we go. I wouldn't mess with this, but this is based off of an average close rate of 100 leads equals a deal, right? And that's a good place to start from, to think about with your leads, and then kind of play with those numbers from there. Like maybe your different lead sources give you a different return, and that's where we can get really advanced. Also, this is calculated based on you taking some days off, right? You are not a robot, okay? So you please take some days off. Oh, and it looks like I broke my calculation in there when I was filling this out. So here we go. Okay. So there's my commission goal. There's my average price point. There's the number of deals I need. So this is how many leads that I need this year. Well, it's kind of a big, scary, hairy goal, right, to think about. And so if I break it down to 5 per day, then it becomes much more manageable, or 25 a week. It becomes much more manageable, right? So 5 a day, that's like if I purchased If I just continually had a property boost running of some form, I would very likely hit this goal, right? So this is going to help me when it comes to actually creating my goal of making something specific and measurable and achievable, especially those measurable and achievable portions. So if you aren't quite sure where to start, that is a really, really good place to start for helping you out. Okay, I've got some goals in the chat. So Brenda made some goals last year, but you can't achieve them because you're lost on where to start. Don't know how to make videos or blogs, don't have money to pay for someone else to do it. Yeah, okay, Brenda. So we are going to start from the beginning. So there are a lot of ways to generate leads. You can, and we have a lot of videos specifically on generating leads. So in general, when it comes to real estate, there's a lot of way to do it. You know, the key to real estate is meeting new people, right? That's the key. Meeting new people and then telling them you're in real estate and following up with them, right? And so that's how you're going to get started, is think about where you go to meet new people, right? So we're going to think about some free things that you can do to generate leads. Okay. So there are a lot of ways to generate leads and meet new people. You can get really involved in social media. I do suggest that no matter whether you choose that as a main lead source or not, you should have some form of social media presence. You don't have to be on everything. Pick one or two platforms that really resonate with you and start there. So that's going to give you a presence to help you showcase your expertise and help people know that you are in real estate, right? So from there, you want to think about other ways that you can meet people, right? So you can go to networking groups, right? You can get involved in your community. These are things that don't cost you any money. Getting involved in if you have an HOA, get involved in the board, right? So meeting people is the key to generating leads, right? Because every person that you meet is a contact. Now, when you put them in KV Core, that person might be in your sphere of influence. They might be a prospective buyer or seller, but every person that you meet and every person that you know should be in KV Core. So I would start with the people that you know, put them in KV Core as your sphere of influence, and then focus on new leads. So to start with your sphere of influence, I would actually run one of these playbooks. Um, and I would run this Gather Your Sphere playbook. So if you're like just getting started, not sure where to go. So this playbook is designed to help agents get their sphere of influence into their CRM. It helps you organize your sphere into actionable lists, and it helps you set up a strategy for following up with them. So that's what I would do. I would do this Gather Your Sphere playbook. And then once you're done with that, then I'm going to follow it up with the next playbook in this series, which is Working Your Sphere. And I like to work my sphere about once a month, maybe twice a month, just depends on what else you have going on in your business. So once you get your sphere of influence in here and figure out how to work your sphere. So in this case, I just do the Work Your Sphere playbook once or twice a month and follow up with them that way. Now, you don't have to know how to do all of those things. We do have videos for them on our YouTube channel. So all of these success meetups, we post the recordings on our YouTube channel. So here specifically is our playlist for that. And this will walk you through. We do have, your sphere playbooks in here. Put your address book into KV Core, perfect. Use a hashtag, excellent, but don't know how to use hashtags or what you're supposed to do now. Totally. So hashtags are just labels. right? So as you brought your sphere in, you want to further categorize and differentiate your sphere with hashtags. So like these are all the people that I met at Trader Joe's, right? In my sphere of influence. These are all the people that are in the PTA with me. These are all of my neighbors. So hashtags are labels. They help you categorize and organize your sphere because your sphere can be really big, right? It can be your kids, friends, parents. It could be your parents' friends. It can be your coworkers from your past jobs. It can be your neighbors. It can be other real estate agents. So your sphere is so vast. So you definitely want to label and categorize and organize them. So that's where I would start. Um, Start with this, working your sphere playbook. You could also start with your smart CRM, and you can look and see and hear like, okay, who doesn't have a hashtag, right? Or who just needs some follow-up or needs some attention. So if you look at this like Power Up Your Automations webinar that we did, that's automating as much as possible within KV Core. So that would be a good one too, because then we also have in here a good daily one. Let me put that one in the chat. Oh, not that one. Maybe it was every day. Yep. What agents should be doing every day in KV Core. So once you have your contacts in there, which sounds like you do, then here are some ideas on what to do every single day when you're in there. Yeah, the playbook is great. I'm going to put this one in the chat too. There you go. Yeah, and we have a video walkthrough on this playlist that I put in there about your sphere playbook. So if you look for playbook, oh, that's promote a listing. Okay, we are going to put a sphere in here. It's on the schedule, which keeps getting moved around. But so that would be a good one for you as well. Yeah. So that's step one for everyone to get your sphere in here, right? And that's where most agents, their first couple of deals come from their sphere anyway. Now, when you're working your sphere, it's not necessarily that they are going to become a deal, right? If we look at our client journey, my sphere of influence, I kind of wish there was a line here because some agents work their sphere to get them to become leads. Some agents, and this is how I was trained, you work your sphere more to get referrals, right? So there's two different strategies there, but I am strongly in the referral camp. To me, if someone becomes a lead you think you might sell to them, they're actually an active lead. They're no longer in your sphere. So that's how I kind of organize my leads. So with my sphere, my goal is to just maintain a relationship. Don't forget them. We all forget people. When's the last time I talked to Charlie? Oh man, it's been 2 years. So step one is don't forget them and don't let them forget you. And also make sure that they know that you're in real estate. And don't be afraid to ask them, do you know anyone interested in buying or selling? Right? So that's how you work your sphere. I'm not trying to sell you on my skills. I'm trying to get your reference. I want you to trust me as being a real estate agent. So that way you can send me your friends and family because I do a good job. And so I'm going to do a good job for your loved ones. That's my goal with my sphere, is to make sure that they know me, to make sure I build that trust. And even if they don't become my client, they are comfortable sending their friends and their family to me. That's what I do with my sphere of influence. That's where having a social media presence can come in. Those are like micro touches. So on your Twitter, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, you can talk about like, oh, did some previewing today, or I'm doing some agent training today to help my clients in today's competitive market get top dollar for their listing, or I can help my agents, my buyers in today's market find good deals, right? So those are micro touches, like making sure that people remember that you're in real estate. So now that you have your sphere and you have a process for working them, and that would be a great goal, right? A great SMART goal could be that you are going to, so something specific and measurable, you are going to reach out to everyone in your sphere once a quarter. Right? So that's specific. You're outreaching your sphere. It's measurable. It's one touch. It's achievable, right? It's relevant to your business, and it's time-based because it's once per quarter. So that would be a great SMART goal for you. I am going to contact my sphere once per quarter, right? So that could be, I saw that you said things like blogging. That is a great thing to do, but you don't have to start there, right? Blogging is a great way to communicate out with your sphere, gives them high value content. So if you start writing a blog and then you go to KV Core and email out a link to that blog, that is a great touch for your sphere. So if you did that like once a month and then also called them once per quarter, that's a great way to work your sphere as an alternative or even in addition to that working that playbook. Yeah, good questions. All right, so we've got a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based goal. We have a couple resources to help us figure out what those goals should be if we're not sure. So now that you are working your sphere and getting close to them, you can also think of other ways to generate leads. When it comes to analyzing your goals, so as you go and get referrals from your sphere of influence, you want to think about how you're going to measure and track that. And so you can measure and track that in two ways. It's another way to use hashtags, and you can also track your lead source. So where did my leads come from? So most likely if you're getting referrals, you are going to be manually adding them into KV Core. That's most likely what's going to happen. And so you can track these referrals in one or both of those ways. So again, you can track leads based on source and or hashtag. So that'll be very important for making your goals be measurable if your goals are lead generation based. Okay, so for example, all of our free lead gen tools, landing pages, they all come with the same source. So you'll know what source those landing page leads came from. Squeeze pages, you can actually make up your own source. So you can get really specific in there. Call capture text code, that all comes with the same source as well. So these are all good resources and good ways for you to find what lead source is working well for you. You can do the similar thing with hashtags. You can create your own hashtag for every single lead source that's in here. So that's a great way to track your leads and which ones are performing well for you, right? Am I hitting that 1% conversion that we're expecting to see with our lead generation? If I have a lead source that is much higher, then I definitely want to continue with that lead source. If I have something that's much lower, then I want to think about why it's low. Is it low because I'm not targeting the right people with my lead generation? Like maybe my value proposition is unclear. Is it low because I'm not putting these people on smart campaigns? So I'm just like generating leads and then forgetting about them. So you can kind of analyze those things. Would you create a hashtag for the various lead sources, but also have hashtags in your sphere to categorize contacts in your sphere? Exactly. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. They are your own labels. So yes, you can use them to categorize your sphere, and you can also use them to help you track like a lead source. A hashtag is any label that you want it to be. So just to throw one more idea at you, I also like to hashtag things that are interesting to them. So for example, I play a lot of board games. I'm a total nerd about Marvel, and I love my dog. right? So just 3 fun facts about Christina. And so real estate is not just about business, it's about relationships. And so I could, another strategy for talking to my sphere, the next time they announce a Marvel movie, I go to my sphere of influence and I look for the people in my sphere who specifically have the hashtag Marvel. I don't have anyone in here right now because I kind of just thought about this idea. But then I get this list of people and I send them a mass text. Did you see the preview for this new Marvel movie? I'm super stoked about it. Right. And so you're adding that personal touch. I am a person, I'm not just a business. I'm a human, and so are you. And so hashtags can be, just to kind of give you like a third idea of how to use them, um, give you something that's related to that. So I could, making it a little bit more real estate related, I have a hashtag of people that I know really like wine, right? Maybe I met them through a wine club. Maybe we frequent the same wine bar. Maybe in our conversations, we've just talked about how great wine is, whatever. So I've got Kennedy, Stacy, and this test lead here that I know they all like wine. And so I could then find a listing that has like an excellent wine cellar. Now, am I trying to sell them this listing specifically? Not necessarily, but because they like wine, I could send them an email with a link to look at that property, right? Hey, after this weekend's wine tasting event, I know I sure could love a property like this, and have a link to a property with a gorgeous wine cellar. So you can be a little bit more casual in the way that you follow up with people sometimes, because you're just providing value and growing your relationship. And so that's how you take leads and grow your relationship into clients, right? You're building trust and you're building that relationship together. Okay. So looking back at our SMART goals, we've got specific, we've got some measurable things. So some good ways to measure your lead sources are with hashtags and with sources, right? And that can come up in my business analytics. If you haven't started looking at your analytics, definitely a great thing to start doing. We have our source performance in here, which is the second tab. This is going to show me by default the last month where all of my leads came from, but I do like to take a wider scope. So I'm going to go and look in the last year. Where did all of my leads come from in the last year? And then I'm going to update that. So I can see where all of my leads came from. Okay, so my organic website was the biggest lead source for me. And so I have that was pretty good. Catalina Wine Mixer got me some solid leads. Custom page and manually adding people got me some leads. And so this is in the last year, my total leads. And as I scroll down, it gives me even more data. So it's going to show me, I can change my rows to show me as many lead sources as I want. I personally can only do 10. And then I can look from here. Okay, how many total do I have? So let me organize by that. So total, my organic website got me the most leads. Organic website is also what qualifies as landing pages. So landing pages also kind of fit in there. Underneath that was the Catalina Wine Mixer. So while that, cost me some money, maybe I bought a booth there, it's my second highest lead generation source of everything that I did that year. So even if it was like a big investment, it was worth it. Maybe it was a networking event and I just got a bunch of people in my sphere. That's fine too. But when I organize my lead sources, I can then come in here and analyze them, right? So what gave me good leads? And not only leads, but where have they panned out in that time? So, July of 2022, I generated some leads from my board game mixer and my Orange County Realtor Networking group. So if I look at that lead source, here's my board game group. They would have started in my sphere and now they're an active lead. So that costs me nothing other than my time, right? And they're an active lead, which means they're probably going to close with me in the next few months. So I'm going to continue to live my life at that board game group, things like that. So good question. So the wine event as a lead source, that would be as you are manually adding your leads in. So as someone who, if you're working your sphere, you're going to get a lot of referrals that you manually add into KV Core. So when you add them in with this blue quick actions button up at the top, when I add a contact and I add all their info, I have the ability in here to update their lead source, right? So yes, I'm manually adding them in. However, they came from the Catalina wine mixer, right? I already have that in here as a source. And so this is a new person that I just met. I do also have the ability to add some hashtags here. So hashtag Catalina wine mixer. I might even do the year Catalina wine mixer 23, because then I can kind of, extra labels and add that contact in. Yeah, and sometimes I like to organize this by hashtag instead of by source, just because there are a lot of lead sources that you don't get to decide where they came from. So like when I'm manually adding someone, I get to decide what that lead source is. When I'm doing a squeeze page, I also get to decide what that lead source is. But everything else is dictated by how they actually enter from KV Core. And so I did put a link to an article with the basic lead sources that come with KV Core. So, directly for your website. So someone who went directly to your website. So you probably gave them a business card and they typed your website in, right? The tracked call, that's anything from the smart number. So if someone called the smart number and they're a brand new lead, or if they sent a text to that smart number with a text code, they're going to have the same lead source of tracked calls. So these are the ones that come with KV Core. When you are manually adding someone, though, you do have the ability to create a unique source in there. So good questions. All right, so this is a great way to track where you are along your goals, right? You could also do hashtags, right? And track your hashtags in here as well. So if I wanted to see, like, let's say as I'm adding in a referral, right? I might even change my source. So this could be a sphere referral, right? And I could track it that way. Or I could say the specific person, or I could say sphere referral. Ooh, it's a hard one. And then hashtag referred by Jenny, right? That's not how you spell referred. Referred by Jenny. There we go. So, and then I can even keep track of like where most of my referrals are coming from and make sure I give that person an extra big Christmas gift, things like that. Make sure that I appreciate the way they're helping me grow their business and what can I do to help them with theirs, having a relationship with people. So as you set your goals, you can measure your progress using KV Core in a lot of different ways. I love this source performance, but let's think about some other goals that we might have. So we've been talking a lot about my goal being based off of this calculator that we did, how many leads do I want in order to achieve this goal? But maybe your lead sources aren't converting at that 1% because again, maybe your follow-up is what needs a little bit of improvement. So your goal could be, I'm going to make 100 phone calls a month, right? That's another great goal. So in order to achieve a goal like that, you can track in KV Core under agent performance. You can see how many calls and tasks have been scheduled for you and what your completion rate is that. It does not break it out into calls versus tasks, so that's something to think about. But this would be another goal, is like looking at your data. Maybe the leads are flowing, but your conversion is not so great. Look at your performance and see really what's happening there. And so I am not completing my calls and tasks, and this is KV Core serving up opportunities for me to engage. And so maybe I am making my calls, but I'm not logging them in KV Core. So that's going to be the actionable action item to make this achievable, right? So I am going to commit to using the KV Core app for all of my client-based phone calls, so that way I can get real statistics, right? So that would be an achievable goal for you in order to look at what your numbers really are. You can also, in your smart CRM, or something I like to do, which is pretty cool, one of the columns in here is your last call. So if you click on that last call column or any of the columns with arrows, it will resort this. And so this is showing me, okay, I last called Chelsea 14 days ago, and Whitney was also 14 days ago, and Stephanie was 24 days ago. First of all, that's just not enough phone calls. But I can scroll down and say, okay, wow, this jumps to 2 months ago. So I, just like a rough count, did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 phone calls this month. That's not great, right? So this can be another way to measure your goals. What you need to work on in your business is prospecting and working the leads that you already have. Tracking your phone calls can be a great way to kind of check in on that progress. So I love that, the last call column. I could click it the other way and see people that I haven't never called. And so maybe that is another goal that I have, is to contact a quarter of my leads each month, or call a quarter of my leads each month. I would then want to do math. What is a quarter of my leads? Kind of look at that. And so in order to make that achievable, I might say, okay, I'm going to call my sphere this month, and then next month I'm going to just call my way through prospects. So we do have some scripts available to kind of help out if you're not sure what to say to people when you call. So we have in our support articles, I just typed in the word scripts. So we've got some seller lead scripts. We've got some scripts if you've purchased the core voicemail drop product. Hint, these scripts will work for you even if you haven't purchased the product. The corrective statement technique and the conquer the cold call, and even these past client scripts. So even the ones that say core voicemail, those are really going to still work for you. Yeah, they're basically leaving a voicemail for someone. So let me put this into the chat. So for those of you who are not hitting your phone call goals because you're not sure what to say, this can be really effective for you. So conquering the cold call. First of all, if these leads are in your KV Core account and they have any kind of search alert attached to them, it's not really a cold call, because you can always call someone and check in on, what it is, the automation that you're sending them. So the more people you have on automation, the more reason you have to call them, right? So Bob Christmas here in my sphere of influence, if I look at his automation, okay, so he got my 4th of July email. That's the campaign that he's on. And that's the only automation that he's getting. So poor Bob is going to forget me. So I might give him a text because it was just the 4th of July, and I might then add him to my Sphere of Influence Smart campaign. Or I might do the Work Your Sphere playbook, because that's going to help me put him on automation. Right? So if you have people on automation, it's never truly a cold call, because you can say, hey, I see you haven't been opening my search alerts. So what's up with that? Are you getting too much? Are you not getting enough? Are they still meeting your needs? Right? How can I help you? Hey, I noticed you aren't opening my market reports. Do I have the right email for you? No worries. If I'm sending too much, I can definitely slow it down. So providing service, if they're on some kind of automation, you always have a reason to call. Not only that, but there's a billion other things the automation does. So that's one reason why it's very important to put people on the automation that's within KV Core, so you're always having a reason to call. If you're not quite a fan of automation, which I completely get, That's where you would take some of our more manual strategies. That would be creating your own newsletter or creating blogs and sending those out. Finding creative lists of properties in the listing section, like that wine cellar that I mentioned. So doing manual outreach and then following up a couple days later to see if they got it. What did they think about it? Do they like that kind of a thing? So if you don't like the manual approach, or excuse me, if you don't like the automated approach, there's a manual approach. It's just obviously more work for you. So that works too. How do you select a campaign correctly? Good question. So the good news is that as you are in the habit of contacting your people, so Bob Christmas here is a friend and family member. They are also friends with my lender, Lucy, so that works out well. Lucy lets me know that they are interested in, they just contacted her about a reverse mortgage. So I might reach out to Bob and let them know about like some downsizing options, right? Kind of just seeing if I can help them. They say, nope, we're staying where we are, reverse mortgage. Cool. Right. So I don't need to change their status. However, if they say, we might be interested in downsizing, perfect. I'm going to update you to an active lead. And as I change your status, it's going to put you on the correct smart campaign. So I'm going to move you to the active lead status, Bob. It's going to update Bob. And as that change happens, if I look on my right-hand side under campaigns, they are now under a buyer and a seller campaign because Bob is listed as both. So that's one way to do it. So as you change statuses, that'll add a smart campaign. You can do that individually, like I just showed you here. You can look at Bob, the person, and update that here by clicking. You can also on the right-hand side add in any smart campaign that they, should be for. So or should be on. I have a bunch of in here, a bunch of silly ones in here because there's so much like testing in my account, but I can always move them to a different smart campaign if I want to. Yeah, so good question. I can also mass add people. So I could grab maybe both my prospects here and go to mass actions and I can change their status, add a hashtag, or add a smart campaign all from here. So that's another way to put them on the smart campaign I'm intending them to be on. So good questions. Let's see, a couple other Q&As. Oh, got that one answered. What's the best way to call through multiple contacts quickly instead of one by one? I would say, so with KV Core, it is a one by one process. However, when you make phone calls through the mobile app, it has a dialer feature. So what that dialer feature will do is you pull up a list of people, right? There's lots of lists of people that it's going to generate for you. It could generate a list of your new leads. You could pull up a hashtag of people and pull up that list. You could search for like all of your sphere of influence and make a list that way. It'll make lots of lists for you. So once you pick a list, then you click kind of go. So let me show you on the article. So, and I'll put this article in the chat as well. Okay, so what it's going to do on the mobile app is it has a call countdown. So it's not like it's calling, like some dialers call multiple people and then at the same time, this calls one at a time, but it does give you a countdown. So you do one person and then when you're done, you make your notes and then it dials the next person for you. So it does help keep you focused, but it is a one person at a time kind of a dialer. We do integrate with Mojo Dialer using Zapier. So that is on one of our previous success meetups as well. I believe we do. Oh, we don't specifically talk about Mojo, but we do have a couple like there we go. A couple Zapier options in here. And I do know that we connect with Mojo Dialer, which I believe does kind of a multiple dialers at a time kind of a situation. What you can do is If you have Core Voicemail Drop, which is an add-on, so just to be completely transparent with you, Core Voicemail, there you go, voicemail is an add-on, but that can be a great way to kind of get a bunch of calls done, but they don't log as calls. So voicemail drop is where you record a voicemail and then it drops it right into their voicemail. So it doesn't even ring. So that, again, it doesn't log it as a call, but it is still outreach. So that's a great way if you're looking kind of for more impact, but you can't track that stat. So just something to keep in mind. So there are a lot of ways to set goals and help KV and have KV Core help you accomplish those goals, right? So whether your goal is the number of leads that you need each day or each week, so you can ultimately achieve your commission goal, maybe you're getting the leads that you need, but you're not making the closing that you need, then it's probably your follow-up that you need to work on. And so that can be looking at who's automated, who needs to be automated. My business analytics is going to help me with lots of these things. So looking here, what do I need to focus on? Looking at my sorts performance, what worked well for me in the past? Has there been a change over time? Do I need to revisit my smart campaign or my follow-up structure? My KV Core activity, right? If I'm not getting the deals that I need, I might need more people on engagement and on automation, right? Maybe I just need to be more consistent about carving out the time to spend in KV Core. So that could look like 15 minutes every day. That's my own personal preference. Every day I like to log in, work what's happening on my dashboard. That's my bare minimum. And then from there, I can do other things. Your approach could also be an hour a week, right? Maybe you prefer to kind of chunk it out like that. And I use that hour, I look at my calls and I expect to have past due because I've only been in here once a week, but that's okay. I still go through and I knock these down. So that's fine. But that would be the first thing that you should do if you're looking for some more consistency, is making sure you're getting like these things that are served up for you done. And then from there, you can pick what else you need to do. Am I going to be working my Sphere playbook today? Am I going to be creating a newsletter today? Am I going to be going to my smart CRM and seeing who's not on a smart campaign and adding them to campaigns today? Am I going to be going to the lead engine and working on some other free lead gen tools today? Right? So that's where it comes to your specific goal, what you're trying to accomplish. So any other questions for me today about goals and goal settings, or about how you can track and analyze your goals within KV Core, anything like that, or anything at all? Alrighty, well, thank you all for coming today. Reminder that this recording link will be posted in this playlist. I'll pop that back into the chat. We also do post our recordings in the Facebook group. Oh, Brenda, great question. I didn't understand the automation thing. Yeah, so I will do a quick chat about that. I recommend that you watch this Powering Up Your Automations webinar, Brenda. There's a lot of things that KV Core can do for you, but specifically what I was mentioning is when you're in a detail record. So Tiffany here, this is my whole history with her. On the right-hand side, I have the actions that I can take. And underneath that, I have actions that KV Core is doing for me. So she is getting a search alert. So she is getting properties sent her way on a regular basis, right? I can click into that and get more details, how often it's sending, see the recent properties that have been sent to her. But so I see she's already on that. She's a client. So this is a bad example, but smart campaigns. Smart campaigns are a follow-up system in general. Things like sending emails for me, sending text messages for me, scheduling calls for me, scheduling tasks for me. Yeah, so this is like the things that you're doing. And then market reports are similar to search alerts in that they also send real estate related data, right? So she is on a market report for a New York zip code. She gets an email every 7 days and it tells her how many properties are listed. What changes that from like the week before when she got her report? What are some of the most popular listings within that zip code? Days on market, is that longer? Is that shorter? So if you have someone on one of these, you have something to talk to them about, right? So she's on search alerts, actually, here's her market report. She didn't open it. That's one thing, right? Maybe I want to, and I can know that she didn't open it and I can view the report right here as well. So I'm always aware of what has been sent to her on my behalf. I can always see what that is. So this is going to load up. Sometimes this one does take a couple seconds. There we go. So we have less homes for sale than in the last 30 days, right? That's kind of what's happening across the country. Our average sold price is actually going up. Here are some recent listings to check out, right? So I have something that I can follow up with this person on. Hey, are you getting, is this a narrow enough neighborhood or area for you? Are you getting it often enough or too often, right? So following up about something like that. Oh, I'm so glad, Brenda. That makes me really happy. You just totally made my day. I'm glad that you enjoyed our goal setting. It was kind of like a private lesson for you, so I love it. Thanks for all the questions. Yeah, that's the benefit of showing up, right? You get to get your questions answered. So, all right. Well, thank you for everyone who was here, even our quieter flies on the wall. Glad you're all here. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. I am often here on Thursdays, not every Thursday, but that tends to be my day. So if you like me, great. I like you too. I'm here most Thursdays. Marielle usually does Tuesdays, and Heather usually does Wednesdays. But we have new trainers that are making their way into these success meetups as well. So there might be some change up in when we all present. But I'm usually here Thursdays. So thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. If you haven't yet, set those SMART goals, give yourself a time-based deadline to achieve them, and hop into KV Core. Have a great rest of your day.